Hello and welcome to News and Views on the Flick and Reel Fancast. We are your source for news, reviews, and daily discourse. I am your host, Jesse Swift, dropping this banner down here so that I can introduce my host, Scott Fox. Back at it again.
Good morning, everybody. Glad you're here to join us. I'm excited.
Absolutely. It's scrounged up a couple topics, a couple things to think about. But what I'm getting more and more excited about every week is our trivia. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yes,
And
I've been enjoying it. Except for
I
found I am not nearly as well versed as you are.
That's not true because everything you ask me is like it's. I think we have less overlap than we thought we did with knowledge. You know what? If we were to compete as a team, I think it would be a solid matchup.
Oh, totally. I think we could cover a lot of bases as a duo. Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes, especially because I'm 12 years older than you are, my go-to movies seem to be really old, and they catch you off guard sometimes. Absolutely. But you are way more versed on up-to-date movies than I am by a landslide.
It's been the focus. My focus is not stretched over the decades as much. I have a whole decade less to worry about as far as recency bias.
Over the decades. The plural part of that really that stings a little bit.
4 decades is starting to sound pretty old.
The crazy thing is, because I am 40, I'm now at the very beginning stage of the 5th decade.
Wow.
Let that sink in for a second.
I'm going to bring up before we get started into, because we're also talking about trivia. Actually, you know what? No, we do trivia first. That's how we do it here. So, Scott, I'm going to let you warm up my brain and those watching. And you came to me, and I did not know this until like right now, what we're doing for trivia today, and that is based on a true story trivia.
Yes,
I am going to fail miserably. How many questions?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did. 9. I might not ask them all, but these are being in the spirit of that it is October and scary movies seem to be a very prevalent thing this time of year. I decided to go with horror movies. Nothing's quite scarier than a horror movie than a horror movie based on a true story, which adds a certain level of intensity to the movie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you one sentence descriptors of these movies that are from the studio that they write for them in order to describe them and give them out. And we're going to see if you can figure out what these are.
I'm going for one.
All right. This first one you should be able to get.
And I'm going to give comments you play along as well as you guys come in.
Softball here. All right. And I'll even tell you the year, 2013. Okay. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren work to help a family terrorized by a dark presence in their farmhouse.
Okay. So pretty sure it's one of two. I'm going to go with The Conjuring.
Correct. You got one correct. Well done. You started out well.
This is a lesson to all the kids at home. If you keep your goals low, you have more of a chance of reaching them.
All right. This next one came out in 2005. Based on the true events of the only case in U.S. history where a spirit caused the death of a man.
Is it The Spirit? No, I'm just kidding. That's not.
That's Alec. Or no, that's The Shadow. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The Spirit was the one that was not part of the question. Anyways.
Sorry, sidebar tangent.
It's 2005. The only thing that's coming to mind, but I think that might be newer than that, but like The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Ooh, no.
Yeah.
No. This one is An American Haunting.
Okay.
All right, now this one, I have not seen every one of these movies, but I did see this one, and oh my goodness, did I wish I hadn't. Here's the description. 2005 as well, apparently 2005. Great window of time for scary movies. 3 backpackers stranded in the Australian outback are plunged inside a hellish nightmare of insufferable torture by a sadistic, psychopathic local.
Is that Hostel?
No, that's in Europe, not Australia. This is Wolf Creek.
I have
Wolf
never
Creek.
even heard of Wolf Creek.
It's really, really uncomfortable. Really. I'm not a horror fan. And
I'm on track to stick to my goal here.
You're pacing well. There's a couple of these you should be able to get.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right. After picking up a traumatized... Oh, this is 2003. 2003. After picking up a traumatized young hitchhiker, 5 friends find themselves stalked and hunted by a deformed chainsaw-wielding loon and his family of equally psychopathic killers.
You said 2003?
Yep.
So then this would be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot?
Correct. Well done. You've got 2. I need to mark both those for you. Well done. Well done.
Don't worry. I won't get more than you can count on one hand, so it should be pretty easy.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, and that was a no, and that was a no. Hey, you're 2 for 4. You're batting 500 right now, so not terrible.
I always love that term, like batting 500, because it sounds so much more impressive than it is.
Yes. All right. This movie came out in 2005. Newlyweds are terrorized by demonic forces after moving into a large house that was the site of a grisly mass murder a year before.
2005?
Mm-hmm.
Is this the Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds?
Well done. You are at 3, good sir. You got to give yourself more credit.
Hey, well, when you told me you were doing this, I didn't know it was going to be horror movies, which gives me a slight edge. I thought it was just like across cinema based on a true story. I was like, oh, I'm going to bomb.
Yeah, if it was across all cinema, there's just too much to pull from, and I figured with Halloween, I would tone it down to focus it. All right, we got a couple more. We're gonna bang them out here. Saving my favorite 2 on this entire list for the last 2, so I've got 2 more here. Let me pull them up again. All right, based on the true story of 2 scuba divers accidentally stranded in shark-infested waters after their tour boat has left.
What was the year?
Ooh, that would be 2003. Early 2000s, really bringing it home here.
2 scuba divers stranded in shark-infested waters. I'm going through all the shark names I know in my head, and it's just like, nope.
It does not star Ian Ziering, and so is not a sci-fi original. This actually came out in theaters.
That's not what I was. Is it Deep Blue Sea?
Ooh, no. Deep Blue Sea is not based on a true story, even though it is good with LL Cool J. This is Open Water. Open Water. That's okay. All right. You got 3 to go, Jesse. All right. This is a good one. The description, even though I'd seen this movie, when I read the description, I was like, oh, I clearly missed a small plot story here. So a Phoenix secretary embezzles $40,000 from an employer's client, goes on the run, checks into a remote hotel run by a young man under the domination of his mother.
Psycho.
Correct. And that's the description of the original.
Yeah,
all right, Jesse.
I was going to ask the year because if I had to.
That's 1960, but even the remake was still, and the remake was with Vince Vaughn, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Very good. All right. Now these last 2 are 2 of the scariest movies I have ever personally seen in my entire life.
Okay.
All right. And they're both based on true stories. I'm going to give you this one because I think it's going to be the easier one of the 2 to get. By the way, you are currently at 4 out of 7, so you're doing quite well.
Hey, I'm doing more than half. That's good.
That's pretty good. All right. So this is from 1973. Oof. When a 12-year-old girl is possessed by a mysterious entity, her mother seeks the help of 2 priests to save her.
Okay. Well, that is The Exorcist.
Correct. Most people actually on IMDb, this is rated as the scariest movie of all time. Still.
I have to watch it because that has been something that people have said for years and decades, and I've seen like a scene or two when it was like playing on like AMC on TV. But
now, I would say it's one of the scariest movies I've ever seen, but I would put it on par or equal to, even though it's rated higher and it's higher on most of the list than our final movie on the list, because the final movie on the list I remember seeing and it ruined me for a good chunk of time. And also from 2005, congratulations. Year 2005 was a banner year for scary movies.
So if I ever like spin the wheel and like I do singles or something, spin the wheel and 2005.
2005 horror, you're going to be set. All right. A lawyer takes on a negligent homicide case involving a priest who performed an exorcism on a young girl.
2005?
Yes.
Performed an exorcism. I'm just going to again say The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
That is correct. You guessed it on an earlier question, which was incorrect. It was actually.
So I was more right than I thought on the timing. Because like when I heard the 2005, I was like, I think it was about that old.
Yes, which actually gives you 6. You beat the one hand count.
Wow.
You got 6 of them out of 9, which is batting 66.66666% for forever.
Point one.
Yeah, let me just say, Exorcism of Emily Rose, based on the story of Annalise Michel. If you go to Astonishing Legends and listen to their breakdown of the story of the case of Annalise Michel, incredible podcast that really goes through it thoroughly. The movie does a great job of painting the picture that it's based off of, but it is scary, very, very scary. The kind that you watch and then you're like, I'm going to stay up and watch a cartoon because I'm not ready to go to bed. It's 2 a.m. You sure you're not ready to go to bed? No, I think I'm just going to stay up for the rest of today.
For anyone that wasn't around last night on our Sunday speakeasy, it was all Halloween themed. We were talking about scary movies, scary games, TV shows, experiences, nightmares, Halloween costumes. Go back and check that out after the show. So I love that Scott just continued that. Like 10 hours later, we're still talking about Halloween.
You guys did a great job on that, by the way. It was highly entertaining. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. We had some awesome guests on there. Okay, well, I didn't realize when I started writing this also kind of falls in theme, and that is bad guy trivia.
All right.
And the only hint I will give you is that these are all kind of geeky movies. So again, this isn't this whole spectrum of cinema. This is a bit narrower. I always think, in the best way, I always think you have harder questions than me, because I try to just make the audience feel like they're included and like it's fun and they're just like, oh, I know this.
I try and make sure everyone feels really dumb.
Well, you succeeded in making at least one person feel dumb. All right, Scott, are you ready?
Yes, I am prepared.
Right. Fantastic. Question number 1. This line is spoken by what villain? I have been marked once, my dear, and let me assure you, no needle shall ever touch my skin again.
That is spoken by Magneto.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yes.
I feel like you had to.
Yeah. No. I was confident. The question I was having to ask myself was whether that was Ian McKellen or Michael Fassbender's. And so I was trying to figure out exactly which one of the 2 movies or which one of the 2 guys do it. Hey, Sean, rise and shine. You back up.
These next several, I think it's Monday. He's not working. These next several questions are for you as well, Sean. So play along in the comments.
Let me. Luckily, nobody actually commented that, but I did get it. So
that was X-Men 3: The Last Stand. But you did get the villain.
Correct. And I knew it was something like that because there's also the flashback sequence of him being tattooed with his barcode during World War II by the Nazis, and so he's vehemently anti, and that's what he's referencing there with that.
You got it. All right, question number 2. A little bit easier, I think. What character is King of the Frost Giants of Jotunheim in 2011's Thor?
Laufey.
Laufey is correct. All right.
Because Loki is Laufey's son.
That is right. Question number 3. The villain Elijah Price first appeared in which early 2000s superhero movie?
Unbreakable.
All right. That's
by the way, best movie. I know people will give Sixth Sense a lot of praise, but in my opinion, that's M. Night Shyamalan's most beautifully done movie. Long takes, seamless, no holes in the story. It is incredible. I cannot vouch for Glass, but that movie, Unbreakable, outstanding.
I'm going to take a second here to let everyone relish in like our new teas here, and we have one for Scott. It just hasn't made its way to him at this point. Yeah, I can't argue that Unbreakable is not great, but I will say that not enough people talk about The Visit. The Visit is a really uncomfortable, well-made M. Night movie. We thought it was like his resurgence. He did The Visit, and he did Split, and we're like, oh, here we go, we're back. And then he did Glass, and then I'm hearing Old isn't that great. So it's like boop, 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 boom. Right.
Going on. You can't bat 1,000 on everything. And The Village was where it really fell off the wheels. Even though I kind of enjoyed the wheels, but Lady in the Water also not up to par. Not with what his early work was. Sixth Sense and Unbreakable were out like impeccable movies.
I'm hoping this speaks to your, we'll just say, experience through the ages of comic book films. Question number 4: Oroku Saki is a recurring villain in what comic book film franchise? I love watching the gears.
Comic book film franchise.
Yes, Oroku Saki. Does it sound familiar? Gonna need an answer.
Oh man.
5, 4.
No, that's 3, a video game. I was gonna say Hitman, 2, but that's a video game
1
franchise. Nope.
Oroku Saki, better known as the Shredder.
I'm gonna go throw up for a second, real quick. Oh my gosh. I'm ashamed of myself.
Hey, right, you know what though? You're 3 for 4. Not bad. Not bad. Bad. Pretty good. Almost, you're on your way for a perfect one, man. If that's the only one you miss, it's gonna hurt.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Man,
hold on 1 second. Hey, Webb, just get whatever you want to get, bud. All right, let's do it.
Question 5. Oh, by the way, there's 8 questions, so this will be past the halfway mark after this. Brian Cox and Danny Huston have both portrayed what comic book villain? Brian Cox and Danny Huston, or Huston. I don't know exactly which one it is.
Brian.
Same character. 2 movies.
Villain. Brian.
Where's Sean played the show? Yeah, there he is. Yeah, Sean put the other. If it helps, also Josh Helmet. All 3 of these actors have played the same character in a film franchise. But I'm less familiar with Josh Helmet. Gonna need an answer.
Which means they have different versions of the same. Oh, and
4, 3, 2.
I think it's from Punisher, but I'm not
1.
taking it. Nope.
The name you were looking for is William Stryker.
Oh man, in the X-Men movies.
I'm glad that these are a little more.
X-Men 2. Oh my gosh, Brian Cox. I couldn't picture his face. Yeah,
and then
that's a good question.
In X-Men Origins.
Oh man.
Hey, you know what? If I have to answer some questions, I'm gonna bring some questions.
Well, clearly, dang, that's good.
All right, question number 6. So now you're at was it 3 of 5? Slipping.
Yeah, I'm falling backwards.
All right, question number 6. In which Terminator film are we introduced to the Rev 9 model?
Oh, I'm gonna wait. Genesis.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
That is incorrect.
Ah.
You're looking for Terminator Dark Fate, Rev 9, played by why did I have space on his name? Shoot, Ghost Rider. Not Gabriel Luna? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so question number 7.
That's shameful. But in my defense, there's 47 of those movies now.
I just rather we hit a bad stride. It's
I started out on fire and I just plummeted.
All right. Hopefully, as a father, no, I shouldn't even say that. That's too much of a hint. Question number 7. The Underminer and the Screenslaver are villains in what superhero franchise?
The Incredibles.
There you go. All right. Final question. Question number 8. I'll be proud of you. I'll be proud if you can get this one. What 2 actors have portrayed Norman Osborn in the Spider-Man franchise and the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, respectively?
Oh, Norman Osborn, the dad. Yep. Willem Dafoe and... Oh, that is dirty. Okay, no, he...
I believe he's also in The Joker as Thomas Wayne.
Sadly, I don't know the guy's name. I can picture his face very clearly, but I can't peg his name. Who is it?
For Chris Cooper.
That's so frustrating. Willem Dafoe is like a softball. That's so easy, but
as Scott cries himself off stage here,
wow.
We're gonna move on.
I started out okay, and then I basically pooed the bed.
You know what? I think what happened is I
got too confident.
I wrote a couple ones I thought were kind of nice, and then I remembered how dumb you make me feel every week, and I think I just went on a revenge tour. All right, if you guys want to see more of those trivias, please let us know. And if you have some topics for us, some suggestions, because I will run up suggestions very hit the Streamlabs link down there, streamlabs.com/flickandreel/tip. And then
to be honest, doing the trivia, that's one of the hardest things is sometimes I'll be like, oh, I got to come up with some questions. I'm like, what? And then your brain, like there's so many categories of movie and everything else to try and wrap your brain around.
I would much rather somebody submits a topic and then I'd be like, okay, great, I'll work with that. Like
easier to search a topic than to try and
Exactly. All right, so moving on to our actual topics here.
Well, the other thing is it has to be factually based. It can't be opinion.
True. True. It's like, what is the worst Marvel movie? Iron Man 3. Well, I guess that is a fact. All right. Now, before we dive into topics, we do have a quick message. We really want to grow this channel and devote more time and energy into making informative and entertaining content. And this can be achieved most simply by taking just a second to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You see that poll there in the comments. Make sure to respond to that. And by doing so, also liking the video. And hit the bell icon so that you never miss a new upload. Secondly, not necessarily most importantly, but our dream does not stop at 150 subscribers. We're actually at like 160 something now. We are on our way to 200. That's what we want to do. Podcasting is what we love to do, and we both love to invest more into this channel. You at home can help by visiting Streamlabs or submitting super chats on YouTube. That also works. And your donations help immensely with turning this channel into a geek-speaking utopia. Great. Now with that out of the way,
I think Garth just threw in some fighting words.
Oh, let me. What do you got here? What do you got here, buddy?
But he's a Shane Black fan. That's okay. Everyone, the very last comment there.
I'm just loving. I'm loving the struggle. Yeah, well, I mean, that was like the last question. I couldn't have it be too easy.
But Iron Man 3.
Shane Black is tough for me because I really don't like Iron Man 3. Nice Guys is one of my favorite movies of all time. And then The Predator's bad. So it's like, I don't. But then you got Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So like Shane Black's like a real 50-50.
It's not everyone's flavor. What's funny is I know a lot of people who really enjoyed Iron Man 3. But they're not as diehard of fans of the franchise or of comic books as you are. And I think one of the things that ruins Iron Man 3 for you, not to get us way too off topic, is the blatant abuse of the character Mandarin, which never got the payoff it deserved or the treatment it deserved. But
in that film,
yeah, well, exactly. But that one thing alone brought the movie pretty far down for you.
Well, I didn't like how they treated Extremis. I mean, we could go on a whole side tangent about, they took the arc reactor out of Iron Man. I was like, so it's just, anyways, that's almost as bad as giving Peter Parker organic web shooters, right? Am I right? All right. hot takes on this channel. Okay, so one of our first topic today that I wanted to talk about is there has been a fan screening for Ghostbusters Afterlife. Before we get into it, Scott, I want to ask, what is your anticipation level? What's your interest level for this movie after seeing a couple trailers?
Two things. One, high, mostly because nostalgia-wise, Ghostbusters came out when I was a kid. First two Ghostbuster movies are outstanding. I really enjoy both. But again, I saw the first one's great. Second one is pretty good. But I saw it as a kid, and so I loved the whole Statue of Liberty walking. Now as an adult, when I watch it, it's not as good as the original one, but it's still pretty good. I still enjoy both those movies quite heartily. The Ghostbusters reboot with the all-female cast, I actually find entertaining, even though I can admit it's not great. It's entertaining. The reason I'm looking forward to this one is we have
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth
and why can't I remember her name? Kate McKinnon. Those were the two best parts.
Totally. But this new one being nostalgic, bringing back the originals, but then also Paul Rudd is literally movie gold. You can put him in anything, and he's such a lovable actor and character. You get endeared to him immediately. If you really want to see something out of the box, I'm waiting for a director to try and cast him as a villain. And to see if that would work. But I love Paul Rudd, so I'm excited to see this movie, mostly because it's bringing it back. It's a return to the original kind of premise, and Paul Rudd is just I can't think of a movie that he's been in that I didn't at least like his portion of the movie. Not every movie has been perfect, but he's pretty good in them.
Well, you got the son of I believe it's Ivan Reitman that is directing the movie. Yeah, Jason Reitman is directing the film. And how's my internet connection? It's looking a little rough.
You're okay. I can hear you. You're just pixelated.
Okay, well, that's fine. One of my pages is freezing for a second. Here we go. I want to read a review from Bleeding Cool. It says, plenty of reverence for the previous movies, but it's the new stories told with a lot of heart and good characters that really cements it as an excellent film. Empire echoes the sentiment, concluding their 4-star review. While full of love for the originals, Jason Reitman's film firmly establishes its own new generation. On the potential here, Ghostbusters still has plenty of life in it. That's what I love to hear, because I didn't hate the female-led Ghostbusters movie, but it definitely felt like, okay, we're done. Like, it doesn't feel like there's anywhere to go from here.
Yeah. I love the fact that they're saying that it opens the door for a future for the franchise. Because, I mean, back in the 80s, it wasn't just Ghostbusters. It was Ghostbusters cartoons, Ghostbusters toys. It was all over the map.
Very marketable franchise.
Oh, totally. I had all kinds of Slimer toys. I had all the action figures, had the Ecto one. That was, and by the way, that very first teaser, when you see the license plate flip up on Ecto one, it was like, yeah, no, that's totally. The nostalgia feels were overwhelming as they washed by. So I'm excited for this. Again, it'll probably get better as we get closer to the actual release date, but I'm really excited to hear there's positive buzz behind it, which will help build steam as it gets closer.
And it's currently sitting at 88% critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes for the early people that have gotten to see it. I'm just glad that it's not going to suck, or it sounds like it won't. Like, my bar wasn't crazy high, but I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks fun. And I like Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things and the It movies. And
my biggest thing is my biggest thing isn't that the bar's super low. It's that I'm always guarded when people go back to the well. I'm not a big fan of reboots or rehashing old stories unless you can do uh, unless you can do it in a way that does proper treatment. And that description saying it has reverence for the old stuff, but then sets a new phase. You have to balance that line really, really carefully, and it's easy to overdo it. So.
Absolutely. So with that, you guys let us know in the comments down below if you're looking forward to Ghostbusters Afterlife. How do you guys think it's going to do at the box office? I think that's an interesting question, especially, pandemic era, and it's not like the last Ghostbusters film really blew the doors down. Is there still a space for a Ghostbusters franchise? And then maybe it could continue onwards.
Anyways. Well, if it's riding an 80 right now, Garth said it's an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, right? Or you said that?
I said 88% is with the article I read. I don't know if it's dropped.
Well, the great thing about that is, unfortunately, more and more people pay attention to that. I always pay attention to the fan scores, less of the critics, because the critics miss.
Which I don't think we have any fan scores yet.
Not yet, but an 80 is still promising. The critics are generally tougher than the fans on movies, and so to say that high, that bodes well, and that hopefully will generate some buzz, because that way, when they do the last push advertising for the movie, they'll be able to slap the certified fresh logo on that, which helps people. There are people who take that to heart and say, okay, I'm not going to waste my money going to the theater. So
it's completely understandable that you misheard me. I think my internet was going in and out for a while. So hopefully it's okay now. And since there's a couple people watching, we do have this quick message here.
Hey, everyone here, shut up. Before you do anything, I need you to like this video, click the subscribe button, and share with your friends. All right, thank you. I'm out of here.
Perfect. All right, and with that, moving on to our next topic, something that has been discussed in the past month, but we now have our first official look at it, and that is Timothée Chalamet as Wonka in this Wonka. I'm having tongue twister problems. Wonka prequel movie of sorts.
Kind of an origin story.
Which, wow, we can have this up and still be here. That's kind of cool. We can talk about this in Pocket Sky. Why? I really like Timothée Chalamet a lot. I think he's fantastic. Really excited to see him in Dune here in a couple weeks. And I'm hoping he seems to be very picky about the movies he chooses to do. Pretty much, if you have Timothée Chalamet, you're getting Academy Awards. That's just his track record. So I would think that he had to be really picky about choosing this movie. So I feel like being naturally pessimistic, but I'm going to allow myself to instead be curious about what this movie is or why this movie is. I like the outfit. It seems very Wonka.
I'm nervous because Gene Wilder and his portrayal of Willy Wonka is iconic. And so to pick up the mantle somewhere, I mean, if they're doing a completely fresh, different take on it, I can understand that. But I don't want to see him doing a characterization of what he thought Gene Wilder would have been as Willy Wonka younger. If he's going to do it, you got to do it as a completely fresh take on the character. The hard part is people like myself, who are a little bit older, are endeared to Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka. He is that person. So that's going to be a challenge. I think that's the biggest thing.
From Mike, he brings up really good points. Says the main reason I'm giving this movie the benefit of the doubt is because Paul King, the director of the Paddington movies, is in the director's chair. Now, I do believe for the longest time, I don't know if they still are, but Paddington 1 and 2 were both at 100% for years. So that is promising. And there had to be a real, good reason for somebody to really want to dig up the bones of the Wonka story. And I think, or I hope, maybe we're getting something that's not, I don't need a super grounded, gritty Wonka telling, but maybe less zany than the Johnny Depp version and more aligned with the Gene Wilder, but also do neither. Give us something completely
Why'd you do that?
Justify your existence.
Why'd you remind me of the Johnny Depp version? I could have gone the rest of the day without thinking about the fact that Johnny Depp played Willy Wonka. Oh man, that movie sucked.
And then I don't know if you've seen those. Garth brings up, I love the meme showing him beside Gonzo in A Muppet Christmas Carol. I've seen
I've seen that, and let me tell you what, that coat, when I first saw it, and with the snow kind of in there, it totally had the Dickens feel, to the point when I saw the image, I had to read the article to see what they were talking about. I didn't realize it was about Willy Wonka. I thought this was like a Tale of Two Cities, something Dickens style book, not a Roald Dahl Willy Wonka thing. But the outfit is certainly, I guess his top hat's a little bit different than Gonzo, but it's still choice. The people who come up with these memes are geniuses.
Often, yes. So I'm curious. I'm not gonna say excited about this movie, but I've never in my lifetime been excited for a Willy Wonka movie. Maybe this will change that. I think Timothy is very charismatic. I think he's a unique actor, and there's several people saying that he's the next, like he's the upcoming Daniel Day-Lewis. And big claims.
Very big claim, but he has the same track record of only picking winners. Like he picks movies that have really great stories, really great characters.
Little
really
Woman,
great development.
Call Me by Your Name, Dune. Like he's just does Academy Award nominated or winning films, and like that's it.
Yeah, and Daniel Day-Lewis. When was the last time? Well, obviously he's retired, but Daniel Day-Lewis did a total of less than 20 movies or something like that, and every one of them was a nominated or close to Academy Award winning portrayal. And I can't think of a movie that he was in that I was like, oh, that sucked. No, everything he did, he is that good of an actor. So if that's the praise they're kind of giving on to Chalamet, then cool. I mean, if he can live up to that hype, though, but that can also set an unrealistic expectation for a younger guy, because he's still maybe 30 max.
I mean, like he's looked the same age for like 10 years, so I don't know exactly how old he is.
Well, he can still pull off very young.
Curious to see what they do with that. I don't know when it's supposed to come out. That's something I could have done the research on it, but I'd just rather talk about the picture. With that, I have a quick question to ask you before we possibly go into our last segment. Did you see the What If finale yet? You did.
Yes, I did. I made it a point to make sure I watched it because one, we talked about it in depth last week, and then we also predicted what we might see, and boy, we guessed right.
Sure did.
And it certainly made the rest of the season make more sense.
And honestly, because it was a show that I that's right here. I was kind of wishy-washy on. I was really excited for it coming out, but the episodes, like some I liked, some I really didn't like, some didn't really justify their own existence. And I don't really want to get into spoilers, but I want to talk about kind of like our feelings of how the show wrapped up, or the overall feelings really quick. I think it was a really nice wrap up that has me excited to see what they do potentially moving forward with like the Guardians of the Multiverse and some of these characters. And we suddenly have a new layout here. Look at that behind the scenes. We have somebody working hard, creating new graphics and images. So that looks really great. Oh, look at that. A new little opportunity here to see support the channel. streamlabs.com/flickandreel/tip. Do that thing. What did you think? What did you think about the What If finale?
It was really good. So we predicted some things last week about them possibly pulling all the characters together to tie all the disconnected stories into one. 30 seconds in, we've got that. They did a good job of maintaining the kind of the character personality with how they move forward. Killmonger still did what Killmonger does. T'Challa as Star-Lord still did what T'Challa does, trying to reason with people. The way it worked out was great. And then it also brought in that sweet spot with, I don't want to give away, there was something planted in the last episode, in episode 8, that seemed as though it was completely dropped until right at the very end. And then it paid off as the big payoff portion, and getting to see that battle internally. It was really good. And the best thing that I liked for it is it didn't have a hard wrap up. What it had is a set the stage wrap up. So it laid it open. It puts some things back in order. I don't want to say that because that'll give away too much. But some of the things they did left it wide open for a continuation. But then some of these storylines could transfer over into the actual MCU in different ways as well. So, right down here, Garth nailed it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It clearly
seems chaotic in the midst of it, but you realize the Watcher had like a grand master plan for it all.
Well, it's kind of like I've watched 51 million or some odd different versions of this, and there's only one where we win. And then also and again, it's Doctor Strange recognizing that it's not necessarily about winning. That wasn't the goal. And I'll just leave that like that. But Doctor Strange's role within all of this was really well done as well.
I love scary, like hellbound, omnipotent, super powerful Doctor Strange.
Dude, when some of the monster stuff happens, and then they're like, "You've been hiding that inside the whole time." It's super.
Why was
intense.
she up there that whole time? Yeah,
yeah. So some of those things panned out really well, and I just love that episode made the entire series make sense, and made some of the episodes that maybe weren't as popular or as liked, like Party Thor. They seem to make sense and tie together much more effectively.
I agree.
Which is what you want in a wrap up.
I liked it. I'm hoping that maybe we get more bang for our buck with the next season. I will say we could definitely feel the missing episode once they did this finale, because that is where the Gamora character comes from. We know that the one episode they didn't get to include in here was Tony and Sakaar, and they referred to Gamora. Well, I won't talk about what they referred to Gamora as, but she did something big in that episode, and they said it's going to be next season. So it'll be interesting to go back a little bit for one character's story and go forward with everyone else's. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say.
Yeah, that was the only one that seemed disconnected, but again, it all came together quite nicely. Yeah, I really enjoyed that actually. And where was it on here? One of the comments. Strange Supreme is cool. I'm with fans thinking he may be in No Way Home. Boy, wouldn't that be awesome?
What if we already met him? What if he's wearing that coat? Okay. Well, moving on to our last bit of discussion here that we do every week, kind of like the trivia, but that kicks off the show, and this is how we wrap it up. What are we watching and reading this week? I definitely have some things I want to talk about. I need to run to the restroom really quick, so I'm going to let you take it for about a minute and let the people at home know what you've been doing.
I've been listening to the True Crime Enthusiast podcast. It's one of my favorite podcasts, as well as listening to Astonishing Legends podcast, as well as this podcast, Flick and Reel, which can be found on all different podcast platforms. Currently also listening to the audiobooks of the Harry Potter franchise, working through that again. Even though I did it fairly recently, I still enjoy those because I just did Lord of the Rings. So now I'm doing Harry Potter. After that, I'm going to go through Lion Witch of the Wardrobe, which I've been reading with my daughter, but I like listening to the audiobooks while I'm at work. And then as far as watching stuff, I've been on Disney Plus watching kid shows. Last night, on Saturday night, my wife was out of town, and so we watched the new Spirit movie with my kids, the animated one that came out in the theaters, and it was surprisingly better than I was expecting. Different than the Netflix TV series. Some of the plot stuff does not line up the same way, but was still good, still entertaining. My kids really enjoyed it, so it's definitely great for the little ones. And I am looking forward to trying to get to the theater, because everything I've heard about the new Bond movie makes it sound like it's a perfect send-off for Daniel Craig. So I'm really excited.
Hurry up and get out there, because it's underperforming at the moment. So the more people going to see it, the better.
Everyone's saving that money for Dune. They heard my prediction. They're all saving their cash to get up to that $150 million.
That's true. That's true.
Slightly overshot, but. I didn't like Spirit Untamed, but I understand it's not exactly the target. Yeah. Again, that's the movie I just said that I was watching with my kids. I really like the Netflix series for Spirit, and this show basically rebooted with a different backstory, which made it seem weird. You almost have to say, I have to forget about this story that I know and go with the new one, which means that you have to suspend what you already know about the characters, which can be hard. But yeah, I'm jealous, Mike, because you're going to see the movie in a few hours, and I'm still trying to find time. So,
well, I've been doing several things. I was introduced to a show on Hulu, I believe called Over the Garden Wall. It's actually a Cartoon Network show with Elijah Wood as the main voice, and it is like this creepy, gothic, almost like horror with some comedy bits in it animated show. And it's really hard to describe, and I didn't know what to think about like the first episode, but then I binged the rest of it. I think it's only like 8 episodes, really fast. It's a lot of fun. I recommend everyone that has Hulu or access to Cartoon Network or whatever, go look up Over the Garden Wall. Really interesting project for Elijah Wood to be doing. I have, of course, as I am every week, I was watching Ted Lasso, so I've seen the Ted Lasso season finale, and it was wonderful, as the rest of the show is. I turned to Lauren and I said, if this show could stop making me cry, I would really appreciate it, and that's fantastic. And we finally, we started watching Young Justice like a year ago, and we got like a season into it, and then we kind of dropped off. So we just decided to resume it for no real reason. So now we're getting back into that, getting ready to wrap up season 2, getting to season 3. And part of the reason we did that is they just announced that on HBO Max they're going to do a season 4. And I was like, okay, well then I need to catch up and watch all this stuff. It says reading and watching, but I also want to throw in playing, because I got a PS4 recently, and so it's my turn to catch up on all the Sony exclusives. And because Uncharted, the movie's coming out, we're tied all together, I got the Uncharted like Nathan Drake collection thing. So I'm starting with the very first Uncharted and starting to play through them. And so far, magnificent. The oldest Uncharted game holds up very well. And re-listening to Sandman again.
I did check out Dune. And so I'm almost done with the book I'm currently listening to. And so I will be listening to Dune in preparation for the movies. I don't want to talk about it until I've listened to the whole thing. And then you and I can have a conversation in depth about the story and what we're expecting out of the movie. But I'm excited to hear that one because I've heard so much good stuff about it. And it is a book that I have not ventured to actually listen to or read yet.
Okay, you don't have to talk details until you're done, but I want to, like every show, tell me how many hours you have left on the Audible.
With work, I will devour the entire thing in a week. So
I'm so excited.
I might have it done by next week.
Ooh, don't.
But I'm excited. Well, there's some good recommendations over here talking about Over the Garden Wall, but then also The Ghost and Molly McGee. I've added that to my list, as well as the podcast recommended Crime of the Truest Kind by Garth. I've added that to my list of things to listen to. I'm a huge true crime fan. Except for New England is a little too close. True Crime Enthusiast is stories based out of Wales and the UK and Islands, and so it's nice to think that this crap happens somewhere else and not here. New England is close enough that somebody could drive across the country and do something over this side.
You had a train of thought and with Dune, honestly, if you get halfway through the Audible, we could talk about it because that's going to be the movie, roughly, or something like that. I think they're going to do a little more than half. I don't think it's going to be like split down because the things I've seen in the trailer, I'm like, that's farther than halfway through the book.
Yeah, but is it halfway through the setting the stage or halfway through the actual story? Because there's so much that some authors do to set the stage that really don't go deep into the story. So, but let me listen to it and then we'll break it down next week.
All I know is I got my Dune tickets 2 weeks from now, and then as of this morning, I have my Eternal tickets because today they went on sale. So get with the program.
Oh my goodness!
Hence,
everything's happening so fast.
We went from no movies to now we're getting all the movies. Hence my name, Eternal Suffering, because it feels like I've been waiting for this movie forever.
Longer than Black Widow?
But I care about this one. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Well played. All right. I see.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who joined us today. Come back next week and also join us on our Speak Easy Sundays with Sean Wingblade, where we talk about anything, everything, and sometimes nothing, but lately Halloween stuff. Scott, you're looking at.
I'm reading Garth's comment right here. Everything comes back to the Schmodown. That's we just circle that all the way around. It's such a close, tight knit community.
It is,
and everyone knows everyone.
Scott, where can people find you outside of right here on Flick and Reel?
You can find me on Twitter at Pastor Dad Fox, where I like and retweet everything Jesse does. And then Facebook. And you can find me at church at the Rescue Church Maple Valley every Sunday morning sharing the gospel message.
Attaboy. You can find me also on Twitter at Jesse Swift. But the Flick and Reel as a whole, we are growing, we are expanding, and we are now having a takeover of Sean Wingblade's Twitch channel. That's right, and is becoming the Watching with Wingblade / Flick and Reel. We hyphenate our last names Twitch channel, where we play a variety of games. Currently, I'm playing some Dying Light, Uncharted. I was trying to play Titanfall, but they don't support the servers anymore. A lot of times, when I'm just having a chill session, I'll play some Skater XL. So go on, look up Watching with Wingblade on Twitch and find us and follow, subscribe. I'm still not sure how Twitch works, but go do that thing and push the button. And if you haven't already, like this video and subscribe and share it, please. If we could get it in front of more faces, that would be awesome. We're trying to make our way to 200, and we can't do that by ourselves. We have to word of mouth, spread. All right. And with that, we will say goodbye, au revoir, ta-ta-ta, and looking for my outro. Da-da-da-da. There it is. All right. Keep it real. We'll see you guys next week. Hey everyone, Jesse here, and don't exit out quite yet. While I have you, I want to take just a quick second to talk with you about something that's very important to me. Right now on the Flick and Reel channel, we're just a couple of guys sitting around and speaking geek, but we think that we can build into something greater. We think that we can build a community, a place for all of us to come together and talk about our thoughts and experiences about various types of fandoms. For this to happen, though, we do need your help, so please do me a huge favor and subscribe to the channel. Along with that, click that little bell icon that notifies you anytime that we upload new content for your viewing pleasure. So again, thank you so much for stopping by and visiting us this week. We hope we'll see you again next week. And just remember, until then,